Family constellation is, on one hand, it is a method, which is a very simple method. You choose representatives from a group to represent people from your family and to create a collective field. That means other people can step into somebody else's shoes and role, and you create an energy field. And then through a constellation, you can see the relationship dynamics that happen between the members of this field. But the understanding behind it really is that we are all part of a collectivity. That means we have our own life, but we are bonded. That means we are part of an energy field. The closest one, of course, is our family, but then there are bigger energy fields like our religion, our country, our culture. So there are many other fields that influence the way we behave, think, or feel. So we are not, in that sense, we are not masters of our own behavior and feeling and attitudes. They are often come together with in which family or in which country or in which culture we are born, because they form our mind. So there is a personal mind, unconscious mind, and then there is a collective unconscious mind that influences us. And in family constellation, we begin an awareness in what way we are part of this collectivity. And in order to understand that, one needs to understand what bonding is. So bonding is a force that binds us to a collectivity, and that is a survival measure by nature in a way. Children are bonding to their parents in order to survive. So this, we call this in family constellation, we call this bonding love. And this often follows us throughout our life, and we often are unconscious about that. That means we do things in relationship, we relate with somebody, we choose a work, we live somewhere, not because we want that, but because something unconsciously is bonded to our family, to our past, and these decisions come out of this bonding love. So family constellations make us aware of this bonding force that influence our life. And this is quite relevant because you see, um, wars are happening just because of this bonding. And it limits what we can do in life. Because of bonding, we are often stuck in misery. You can see it in simple ways also. When the parents are miserable, it's difficult for a child to be happy. Why? Because it feels loyal to his parents. When the parents are miserable and the child is happy, then the child feels not connected to them, to the parents, as if, okay, maybe I'm not the child of my parents. So happiness is often difficult because of bonding. It doesn't, bonding is, as a word says, it's a binding force. It binds us to something, to the past. And this, of course, has a lot to do with trauma experiences. Because when there is a trauma or a personal trauma, but in family constellation, we look at collective trauma. When there is a collective trauma in the past, the people start especially strongly bonding together in order to cope with that. So whenever you see it in life, whenever you feel uh, hurt or wounded, what you seek for support. So you seek for a friend who can hold your hand or can give you a hug. So you bond. Whenever you have a difficulty, you seek for love, bonding love. And that happens collectively also. When there is a collective trauma, people who are involved, they especially start bonding together strongly. So bonding means we belong together and they don't belong. And you can see this in children also. Children say, my mother, not your mother. So bonding also leads to separation. So it means this is mine, this is my people, and this is not mine. There are others. So it separates. So you can see this. All tragedies, wars, they happen because of that.
Mm.
So in order to heal that, we need to open ourselves to a bigger collectivity or to a bigger field. And that can only happen through awareness. No? So whenever there is a trauma field, in order to heal it, sometimes you need to open to yourself to a wider field and move beyond the bonding. That also means moving beyond mind, because mind is always creating duality, because it is always me and you, we or they. So there is always separation. When there is bonding, there is also separation. So that is in the nature of the mind. The personal mind and the collective mind, in a way, is similar. So in order to move beyond that, to feel what we often talk about in spirituality, to move to a state on oneness where there is no separation, can only happen when we learn to come out of the grip of the mind, the personal and the collective mind. You see, this is not so easy to do. This is a lifelong work on yourself.
Yes, because it can mean, for instance, this opening to a wider field can mean including the other side in a war, for instance, or in a war of the ancestors. It can be opening to a perpetrator where we felt we were the victim.
Yeah. And that is not easy because it goes against the bonding to your own family. So if you feel your ancestors suffered because of some people of the past, because they were invaded or killed by others, and then to open yourself to the other side also brings you in conflict with your loyalty to your own group. And that is often very, very difficult.
Yeah, so that's why we need to um, learn how to tolerate guilt. You sometimes talk about that.
That's right. The guilt is a byproduct of bonding. The guilt, the guilty feeling we have, it becomes, it's a kind of correction. When we feel guilty, it shows that we are doing something that goes against the values of our group to which we want to belong. And then the guilty feeling brings us back.
Mm.
So it strengthens our bonding. So to tolerate guilty feelings means I am moving out of a collective value system. And that is a sign of uh, inner growth, no? When I can tolerate that.
Exactly. It takes some maturity and inner strength to be able to do that.
That's why I always say to people, you cannot be happy and have no guilty feeling. Beginning at least.
Mm.
You want to do something that you really like to go, you have to practice to tolerate a guilty feeling.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important point because we're conditioned, we grew up listening to these impulses, and it feels like so true. Like, oh, if I feel guilty, it means I need to step back and
Yeah.
not do this. So we really need to bring in this awareness and see, no, it's not like that. It doesn't mean that I should stop and take a step back. I can take a deep breath and take a step forward and learn how to just include this and process this feeling.
That's why this can only happen through awareness. That's why children, if they remain in that, they cannot get out of it. So that's why we have to introduce awareness and meditation and consciousness into that. And that's why, in order to grow up, you need awareness and meditative consciousness. Otherwise, you only grow old.